Welcome to this Zentangle Quickie. My name is Heather Hartwick Gladden. I'm a certified Zentangle teacher. And today we're going to take a look at the new tangle, Ribero, from Cyndi Knapp. Now, I say new. I'm not sure when she came out with it, but it was just put out on today's email from tanglepatterns.com. Click go to the description section of this video. You'll see that for more inspiration from the creator of this tangle, click that link. It'll take you to Tangle Patterns. Make sure to subscribe there. She's one of the resources that I use for for finding tangles. And she sends out, I want to say it's 5 days a week, a new tangle, and then has like a recap or refresher or something like on the weekends. It's a constant source of tangles and just a wealth of information. So highly recommend that. All right, so this is a neat, essentially a tangulation on the Zentangle original tangle Duda, and I thought, oh, well, look at that. Looks neat. All right, so let's see, and I'm gonna draw. I don't know what I'm gonna draw. Let's see. I want it to be kind of curvy. That's what it's gonna be, just like that. Because I feel like it. All right. So, if you're not familiar with Duda, this first step is, well, I think on Duda it has double lines as the border, which I mean you can do or not do, right? Just like everything is entangled, it's up to you. And then we do these lines that will alternate, and so wherever you want to start, fine. So I'm going to start here from the top. And so you bring your line down and leave some space. This one, you might want to leave a little bit more space because you can always adjust it. And I'm going to just leave these a little bit farther apart than what I sometimes do. It's a really fun tangle, period. Because it has such a neat look, and then there are other ways you can decorate it. Okay, but this adds enough things that I think that's probably why. And it's a tangulation, so it's all good. All right, then I'm gonna put an orb at the bottom, and so one of the things that you'll want to do is aim, to kind of keep them at a certain distance from the line. Don't worry so much about this because that can be adjusted, and I'll tell you about that in a moment. All right, well, this is going to be, I guess I can fit all that in. Okay. Next, we're going to go through, and here's where you could adjust the length if you want, but we're just going to put a perpendicular line, just a little one, across the bottom. But I know somebody's probably yelling at me, hey, you missed that. And I'm going to put that one right up there. I would err on that first, well, actually, it's technically the second step. On these lines, I would err on too short than too long, because we can kind of course correct the short, but not if it's too long. Okay, like that one was almost too long. All right. So once we have that, then from there, from those ends, straight line up to the line it's on, making a triangle. Now, I'm going to dare say too, you could play with this shape or the length of it. So if you wanted to have a little bit longer and narrower, you could. I think in one of, well, I'll let you, when you go and take a look at that link, there were some other ideas. I'm filling them in. I kind of like that. But there was one of her samples where she didn't, and I can't remember if she added in, I was going to go look, a line like this or something, all kinds of options. And this is also why, let me just straighten that out, why I mentioned, that you can course correct shorter. So like usually when we course correct, there's sometimes there's a bump, right? When you try to extend a line. And this, as long as it's not, too far up, we're covering a lot of things up with that triangle. So you can kind of feel comfortable in that, lengthening it just so that way it's as uniform as you want it to be. We'll say that because this is Zentangle, and things that's the only requirement is that they're as uniform as you want them to be. Okay, and then just being careful too. There we go. To get those lines, it's like, okay, let's put this here. Okay, and actually meet the line. Oh, and then let's have that one meet. And sometimes they get a little bit wonky, but fill it in, see what it looks like. The nice thing about filling things in is, see, like this one, it is a little bit weird on that one side. That's okay. I just go over the edge of it a little bit, and I feel like I call it shaving because that's what I feel like I'm doing. I'm shaving off a little of the space I don't want of the white, and that's just what it feels like. We're like molding it. We're reshaping it ever so slowly, and like I said, it works. Here's another one. Part of me thinks, well, you know what? If I just need to find the right angle to hold this at, and so that way you can see. Oh, that one's nice. I'm trying to determine, is it the upside down one? Somebody, I should have asked somebody to keep track for me. Is it the upside down ones that I'm most not happy with that I have to course correct? Oh. But anyway, you see, and then where is that one? Right here. Let's fix that. There we go. Okay, fixed enough. And that is essentially it. I'm going to put some shading on. We're going to do shading. I'm putting some graphite on the interior of that line, on the inside. Part of me thinks it could use to have a double line there, but that's all right. We'll do this like this for now. You can always play with it. All right, and then we'll bring this a little bit in towards the center. Whoops. You have to be careful when you go. Oh, well, you can't really see it now. I felt it as I went over it. You could feel the ink in the paper. You just have to be careful sometimes. Let it dry a little bit, or just go lightly over something like that. That's all solid. I can see where I'm smudging the ink. There we go. Just gonna go a little bit. Actually, let's do this. I'm gonna hit it right on the edge again. I was using what was left on the tortilla, and it was making it darker, but just adding a little bit more just to the edge, and I'm not pulling it out. I'm not worrying about pulling it out. I'm just worrying about blending that edge. See that edge? And depending on what you're working on, if you have trouble with those edges, so this is a very well seasoned tortilla, but working on it on its side, because on these tortillas, it's just rolled up paper. If you've not used them, it's just rolled up paper. And what I have found is that having it on its side, the grooves of that rolled up paper grab the graphite nicer. So instead of just smudging it around on the tip, if you need it to move, if it's not moving, and I find this especially if I'm working on a smoother type of paper, like cardstock, or like a Bristol-y type of paper. There we go. Like that. Yes. Makes it a little bit more dramatic. How fun. But anyway, but putting it on its side seems to help it to move. And it's always a great idea, since I'm on the topic. Uh, Test your how the graphite moves on your paper if you're trying using a new kind of paper, or if you find yourself frustrated, you know, have a scrap piece that you can just play with and see how you can make it move and create a really nice smooth gradient. Um, all right, so fun tangle. I try not necessarily to share what what comes out from tangle patterns, but there's like right away. But sometimes there's just one that's like, oh, that's perfect. Oh, that just fits the bill for my mood today or whatever. And just wanted to share it because it is really cool. So with that, in the description section, I already mentioned finding links to the step outs. I always do a version of my own and then link to the creator of the tangle. Below that, you will find ways to connect with me if you wish. So I have a link to my website, Facebook page, and if you want to hang out with a bunch of crazy, yeah, we're crazy, um, but very talented and just wonderful human beings that we have in our Tangle Addicts community. If you'd like to hang out with us, we'd like to hang out with you. So there's the link is there. Know that there are 3 questions to gain entry that must be answered. Again, to gain entry into the group. I like to set a proper tone, and I really hate deleting things, so I just kind of try to keep everything right up front, just so that way I don't have to delete posts and feel like I'm being a big meanie. Um, and let's see what else. Oh, on my website, if you've never taken a class, I highly recommend you do that. I do classes twice weekly. A lot of them are free. Some of them are paid. I'm basically on Tuesdays and Thursdays. Thursdays are free, unless there is some weird something in my schedule, or there's a holiday that I just can't avoid. That I just, or I should say that I can't fit in doing these sessions. Then I just shift it to another day. But so I try to do it so that way you know what you can count on from me. So I have those the Tuesday classes. There's one free on Tuesday. All the other ones are either have a fee, or are I have one that's a club members exclusive, and you can check out that information again on my website. So with that, thanks so much for watching, and I wish you happy tangling.